Eric Stonestreet, the actor, obviously from Modern Family, but also ABC's The Toy Box. We'll talk about that. That airs Fridays at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Good to have you in the man cave there.
Yeah, thank you. This is awesome. I'm glad I'm finally able to meet you guys and be with you.
Well, can you clear up this controversy here that I read, and of course I believe everything I read in Hollywood, said that you were escorted out of a Dodger game. I believe the Dodgers were playing the Cardinals.
Yes.
Were you escorted / thrown out?
I was escorted to the top of the steps by security. The gentleman that I was involved in a verbal confrontation with was escorted out of the game. I was not escorted out of the game. I was allowed to return to my seat later.
Because you're famous?
No, because that's one way of looking at it. No, because I just let the police and the security sort of see what was going on. Once we got to the steps, I just quieted down, and the other gentleman proceeded to...
Wait, how do you get involved in it?
He was heckling Matt Kemp the whole game. Oh. And I had just recently started going to Dodgers games, and I was sitting, he was in the front row, and, you know, he was heckling Matt Kemp. And after he heckled Matt Kemp one time, I said, "Hey, man," and he turned around, and me thinking he would think it was funny because it's me saying it to him, I said, "How awesome would it have been if Matt Kemp would have just knocked you the F out?" Like the ultimate fan experience, right? You want to talk a big game, and now you just get knocked out by one of the players.
Sure.
And thinking that would be funny, he didn't take it that way, and we got into a verbal altercation, and he proceeded to just let me have it for about a minute, to which I said nothing, and then it calmed down, and then I re-engaged him, which is what I will take credit for, responsibility for. And then in the middle of it, this big Dodgers fan with a lot of tattoos and a bald head and a goatee comes down, and he taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Yo, Cam, we got your back, bro." And I was like, and so it kept going, and then the security comes down, and they escort us up to the top of the steps. I literally get to the top of the steps, and the police officer's like, "Stonestreet, what are you doing?" And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just got into it. And this guy just kept talking, and they were like, "Finally, all right, you got to go." And then they said, "You go down to your seat, don't say another word." And I was like, I won't. But of course, the next day, TMZ's got it, and they're saying that I was like, "Don't you know who I am?" It's like the typical thing that happens.
Have you ever done a "Don't you know who I am"?
No, I mean, I may have said, you know, things like, "Hey, you know," like, no, I've never done that. I've never, and I would suggest that most people that have said that a star has done that or a TV person said that has not done that. Like, do you think so? Do you think people do that?
I think people who aren't somebody but think they're somebody then ask, "Don't you know who I am?"
Yeah, but I find that in our business that the more successful you are, usually the less likely you would do that.
Yeah.
It's the people that think that's what like famous people would do. That's what they do. You know. When
did you know? When did you have that moment where you go, "Okay, life has changed. I'm famous"?
Awesome question, and there is a very specific moment. I used to go to Katsuya, this restaurant in Los Angeles. It's a sushi place. Been going there for years and years and years and years and years, eating a lot of sushi, tremendous amounts of it. And went there. The show aired on a Wednesday night. I went there the following Monday. Or no, I'm sorry, the Thursday after the show aired. I was with my friend Barrett, and we ordered lunch and we left, and it took 10 minutes for me to get out of the restaurant because people were just stopping and wanting to say hi. And we got out of the restaurant, and she's like, "Oh my God." And I remember thinking TV is so immediate, like it's so fast, because I could go there and just walk out, and literally people were like, "Hey, my name's so-and-so, I work at ABC Studios, blah, blah." And so I was talking to people as I was leaving the restaurant. And that's the day I realized, I guess my life's a little different now.
Are there negatives though?
Well, the example is that I'm a very passionate guy. Like me saying that to that guy in the front row, that's how I have lived my whole life.
Yeah.
Like I think it's ridiculous that fans go to a game and talk smack to professional athletes who can't defend themselves. So that had nothing to do with me being on TV. I would have called that guy out at Arrowhead Stadium in 1990 as well. And so now me doing that is the question arise that, well, did I get special treatment because I was famous or whatever? Where I'm just living my life. I try to just be as authentically me as I can. And unfortunately, when you do that, you're able to be painted with a different brush.
We have an idea where it should be that one player a year gets to go into the stands to beat somebody up.
Would love it.
And you don't know when it is.
Yeah.
So there's a tune-in factor. Could this be the night?
Great.
Yeah. What do you think?
You know, and I get a lot of grief because I'm from Kansas City. My sister and my mom have Royal season tickets. I have Dodger season tickets. I've lived in Los Angeles almost 20 years. And when I got a little cashola in the old pocket, I was like, I want tickets. I want to go to Dodgers games. I want to go to Kings games. Like, I want to be that guy. And so I can't go to a Dodgers stadium. I can't go to a Dodgers game, and I can't go to a Royals game without somebody saying, aren't you a Royals fan? Aren't you a Dodgers fan? It's like, I don't even want to go anymore. It's like, you know, I'm like a baseball fan, and I live 12 minutes from the stadium. Do you expect me to fly home for 3 hours every time I want to take in a baseball game? So I'm constantly like defending myself. But when I was
you got a tough life, Eric.
Oh,
you really poor guy.
Really hard.
Poor guy's got to hear you're a Royals fan.
I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky.
He's Eric Stonestreet. The show is The Toy Box, and that's Friday at 8 Eastern. Explain what this is, and because I don't know if it's Shark Tank for toys for kids.
Yeah, it's a competition show, but there's only one thing that's going to win. It's 8 episodes, 7 episodes with the finale, so 8 total. It's so it's not like Shark Tank in that, but there are people coming in that have dedicated their lives and lots of money to things, and they're pitching them to adult mentors first, and they're there really to provide to parents at home watching whether the toy's safe or not. And then if they get past those 3 mentors, then they come into the toy box where the kids are that you're seeing on the screen. And the kids ultimately decide if the toy moves on to the finale. So at the end of the deal, there'll be 7 toys. 1 will win. 1 will get the deal with Mattel, and the toy will be available the moment the show's over. It's a great idea. It's a cool hook.
Did you come up with the idea?
No, I wouldn't say it's a great idea if I had come up with the idea.
Don't you know who you are?
Yeah. Sometimes I have to be reminded. No, it was pitched.
I think it's a really interesting idea.
It is. It was pitched to me, and I never wanted to host anything. And then they say, don't work with kids and all that. So there's a lot. And that's an interesting thing because I didn't realize how much I compete with the character that I play on TV. Because my character I play on TV is really outgoing and fun and whatever. I'm not as outgoing and as fun. So when I meet people out on the street, in the beginning, it used to be like, are you not feeling very well? Is there something wrong with you? It's like, well, no, this is just my personality.
But you're so upbeat but snarky.
Yeah.
On Modern Family.
Yes, I am.
But that's not you. You're snarky but not upbeat?
Yeah, I'm way more low-key, deadpan, and sort of awkward observational type thing. And so that's what the personality, you see my real personality, a lot of it on the toy box. And I realized, people don't that's me. They're expecting to tune in and see Cam hosting a toy show, and it's.
But you get people disappointed that you're not gay as well. So here you are, not that person when you're doing Toy Box, and you're not really that person in real life.
Right.
Like, are people, when they meet you, do you get people disappointed?
I always feel like I register disappointment on people's faces. And, I don't know how much that's me.
Nothing to do with your character?
Yeah. I always feel like, wow, I'm really disappointing people. But that's just sort of my nature. But yeah, in the beginning, definitely I would run into people and I would definitely feel like they wished I was in character, or that character. Because, people watch the show, they don't, and unless they tune into something like this or see me do something else, they don't know. When we were shooting an episode at Disneyland, between shots, we could go ride the rides. This is a great example of it. So now all of Disneyland doesn't know Modern Family's there shooting the show. Only if you happen to see us shooting, you're like, what's going on? Oh, it's Modern Family. Cool. But between shots, we could go ride a ride. So we go over to Big Thunder Mountain. Now I'm dressed in my cam shirt. My hair's poofed up like my character. And I'm over riding rides, and I see these people staring at me and pointing at me, and they're just like looking at me. And I'm like, hi, how are you? And, whatever. And then I leave, and I'm like, you know what? Those people think that they just saw the actor from Modern Family, and they're going to go home, and they're going to be like, he wears the same shirts when he's out in public. He does his hair the exact same way. He's the exact same person.
Who is dressed like Cam would dress of my guys, the Danettes here? Or me. I don't know if
closest is this shirt right here.
Fritzy's plaid shirt, Cam would kill that?
Yeah, but we'd pop those cuffs up and
French cuffs.
Yeah, we'd have a different color over there. I wanted when I first got the character, I wanted the character. I had just been to Dallas, Texas, and I would see all these guys wearing these fancy shirts, you know, and you could tell that their wife went to Dillard's or Nordstrom and bought them for them, and they're rocking these shirts and they're got their jeans on, and I just thought that was such a funny idea of an outfit. So I said I want the shirts to be like contrasting and colors and jewel tones because I'm basing the character on my mom, so I wanted jewel tones so that's the closest.
Wait,
one.
so your character's based on what your mom would wear?
No, my character's based on my mom. I mean, I'm basically essentially kind of impersonating my mom as I'm doing the character.
Does she know that?
Oh yeah. She's yeah.
Was she good with that initially?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because it was a hard character to sort of figure out how to do because they said they wanted this, but they didn't want that. They wanted this, but they didn't want that. Not too big, but yet this. And it's like in the audition materials, it's like they said, we don't want the character to be huge, yet they'd written a scene where I introduce a baby to Lion King music. So it's like, well, how do you build a character from there to there and it not be an over-the-top character? So I grounded the character, what I thought I was doing, was with kind of impersonating my mom.
Can you stay?
Yeah, sure.
We'll take a break here. And I've been practicing my Sofia Vergara.
Sofia Vergara.
Do you just sometimes just stop?
Yes, I do.
You do.
Whatever your answer, whatever your question is.
Absolutely.
Yes,
We'll continue with Eric Stonestreet. The show is The Toy Box. That'll be on Friday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. We'll come back right after this on The Dan Patrick Show. The show is The Toy Box on ABC, coming up Friday at 8 Eastern. We're talking Eric Stonestreet. The Toy Box, each episode will have a set of amateur inventors run their designs through various trials, aiming for a spot in the finale in which they'll pitch their inventions to a panel of kid judges. Winner of the competition will have their toy brought to market by Mattel at all the marketing and self-position perks that go along with it. Did you get into comedy first or acting first?
I left Manhattan, Kansas. I went to Kansas State University, and I did a couple plays there, and I moved to Chicago to pursue like Second City and improv Olympic there. So I didn't know what I was going to do. I kind of became an actor because I was dumb enough to believe that people in Manhattan, Kansas knew what they were talking about when they told me I was good. Yeah. You know, which is, I'm thankful for that. Just being sort of...
Were you good by Manhattan, Kansas standards?
Well, that was the question. I didn't know that I needed to really think about that until afterwards. But people came to see me in plays and they said I was good. So I was like, well, okay, well then I'll do this. I mean, and I appreciated that so much. That's where I figured out that what I wanted to do. So I moved to Chicago to see basically if I could compete there. And I lived there for 2 years and felt like, well, okay, I'm doing all right here. Let me try the big sandbox. And then I moved out here.
How humbling is Los Angeles?
Very humbling. It's a big place. And I was fortunate enough to move here with friends. I moved to Chicago not knowing anyone. I moved here and some of my best friends, still my best friends, were already here. They went from Kansas State to here to pursue other things. So when I was moving here, I had friends. But it is a massive, massive place.
What's the job you almost got?
Well, I was pretty close on The Office.
What role?
Kevin.
Oh, okay.
And I had read for Steve Carell part, and they thought I was good. And then they brought me back in for the other part. But Brian, who plays that part, is phenomenal. And it's a good example of, you know, the things that didn't happen turned out to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be a clown in the circus and auditioned for Ringling Brothers twice and didn't get in. And then I was heartbroken. But now I'm thankful, you know, that didn't work out. So it's a lesson for actors.
Well, what was it like to watch first season of The Office?
You know, I was really bummed because, you know, you teach yourself to not get close to projects. You teach yourself to go in, do the best job you possibly can, and then forget it because 99.9% of the time you're not going to ever hear another thing about it. But you become attached to things. And I was bummed. I mean, because I was bummed because it was so funny. And I wanted to be a part of working with so many talented people. I wasn't bummed because somebody else got the job. I was bummed because that would have been fun.
With Modern Family, is there a tempo, a style that is it based on another sitcom in style or just how it's written. I'm not sure how these things work.
Yeah.
But it feels like we've felt it before, whether we haven't seen it. You know, The Office, we hadn't seen it, but I don't know if Modern Family's based on a prior sitcom.
Not really. I mean, I think it's kind of a melding of a few different things. You know, This Is Spinal Tap, those sorts of things. The Office, because it's kind of its own thing, because it's a documentary kind of style. But if you watch the show, we do different things that we did in the first couple seasons. First of all, the show doesn't breathe the way it used to breathe. And that's one of my things that I wished we did, is we took so much more time with moments in the first couple seasons than we do now. And now our episodes are just jam-packed. And, you know, Chris and Steve, who created the show, they're really smart guys, and they know, you know, what they're doing. But I think that's a thing that all of us feel, that we wish we took more time. But, you know, I think it was kind of its own thing, but it was a melding of a few different types of things.
But how much say do you have in your character when it comes to your lines?
Well, not like it's a open environment. Like if I walk in and I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me, either somebody will explain it to me, or that means that it needs to maybe be taken, you know, a look at, because it's not like I'm an idiot. So if I'm not getting the line, there's a chance that you may not get the line.
And we're idiots.
Yeah. When you guys are idiots. So
how many takes do you get?
That's what I was saying earlier. If you came and saw how we would shoot, you would be shocked how fast and proficient the company at Modern Family is. And other shows come over and look at us and study us and be like, how in the world are you guys getting out at 4 o'clock every day on a multi-cam show, or what's called a single cam show? We use 2 cameras, but I would say an average scene when you're watching on Modern Family, just like take a 3/4 page scene, choose anyone. I would say when you see that, I probably have done that between 9 and 17 times, I would say, which is not very many times.
Have you asked for a take to be put in?
You know, that's one of the reasons that I hate it when I hear actors say, you know, I don't watch myself on TV. But I have learned after doing 188 episodes of a show, there's a reason why you may not want to watch yourself, because we don't have that say in final post-production. So the show lives on better in my head from reading it at the table with the writers and at the table read, from shooting it because we had so much fun shooting it, we made each other laugh, and then I watch it and that stuff that felt like magic is gone, or it edited out, or it's time, or they used a different take, and you just are like, oh man, I wish that would have been in. So I don't watch the show as regularly as I used to, for 2 reasons, what I just said, and for when I'm older, that I'll be able to have these little time stamps for myself, to be able to go back and be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the guy who wanted to be a clown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that episode. So I'm hopefully leaving myself a little something to discover in the future.
What's the topic that made you nervous on Modern Family? Is there a storyline?
No. I like it when they make my character the accidental sort of not racist, but I like it when because we know Cam's heart is good. And I think we all can relate to saying the wrong thing at the wrong time and it being taken away that we didn't intend for it to be taken. So I love it when they fill me with those moments where, you know, I say really kind of off color and off-putting things, but we can rest back on the fact that, well, he's not a bad person. He just didn't know. There's an episode where I was in line instructing Manny how to kiss a girl or something like that. And it sounds like I'm telling him what I want to do
to him.
And then I hang up the phone and there's a lady looking at me and I'm like, I'm sorry, I was just talking to an 8-year-old boy. And she's like, and it's like, that's an example of like the kinds of things, those situations where I like to put Cam into.
If you could win an Emmy or the Chiefs would win a Super Bowl.
You mean another Emmy or?
Oh, my bad. My bad. I didn't know we had
You mean a third or?
I didn't know we had other multiple Emmy Award winners in here. My bad.
Yeah.
How about a Best Supporting Academy Award? or the Chiefs winning
Well,
another Super Bowl?
I mean, look, awards, whatever. Like it would be the getting the opportunity to be in a cool project that would even get me to that level. So I would want that job. If I won an award, that would be cool. I want the Chiefs to win a Super Bowl very, very soon. I also want the Kansas State Wildcats to win a national championship.
Okay, if I said you could have K-State win a national title.
K-State.
Okay, that's what I thought. Who makes you cry? When's the last time you cried with a sporting event?
I never cry at sporting events because I really am truly one of those guys that it always dawns on me. It happens to me when I'm playing golf, and it happens to me when I'm watching sports. Two things. When I'm playing golf and I hit a terrible shot, I always have a moment, and I'm not good at golf. I always have a moment where I think, thank God I'm not a professional golfer and relying on this to feed my family. This is just fun.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that same moment at sporting events. When the Chiefs disappoint me, when the Royals or the Dodgers or whomever, Kings disappoint me, I always have the moment of like, thank God I'm not the person who put in all the blood, sweat, and tears. They're the ones that have the real right to be upset. I have done nothing. I have been sitting in the stands. So I don't cry over sports events, but I will tell you the Chiefs have disappointed me
greatly.
A tremendous amount.
Who is the best actor or athlete on Modern Family?
The best athlete?
Athlete. Ed
O'Neill. Well, he had a cup of coffee with the Steelers. You know, he was drafted, or he was a free agent in Steelers camp with Chuck Noll. So I would assume he probably is the best athlete, and he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
So I think he wins.
Does he remind you of these things?
Subtly, every once in a while. I mean, he just sent me a great picture just out of the blue. That's a great thing about being friends with Ed O'Neill is you just get these sequitur texts out of nowhere. And I just get a picture of him from like 1966. And he goes, Eric, I was 6'3" or 6'2", 225 pounds here. And it's just him in an old football outfit, you know, just out of the blue. He was like, I was in great shape then. But I would say he's the best athlete. And I'm not a terrible athlete. I just have, let a few things happen to my body.
Just for your character, though. You're like De Niro in Raging Bull. I mean, you kind of did this for your character, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is all character work.
Of course it is. Sophia does not send you pictures, though, does she? He's Eric Stonestreet. The show is The Toy Box on ABC. That'll be coming up Friday at 8, 7 Central. Great to have you.
This was a real treat.
Thank you, buddy.
You know, you go into places and you can't wait for things to be over. This is one of them. No, I mean, no, this is one that I wish could go on and on. This is a true treat for me.
You could host this one day. Could you host a 3-hour sports show?
I don't know. Like, what would I have somebody telling me?
You'd have those guys there?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
You think you could do it?
I don't know that I could do it. But here's what my commitment would be to you.
Okay.
Is that I would prepare and I would be ready.
Well, I don't do that.
Well, but you're Dan Patrick.
I don't prepare.
Yeah, but you're Dan. But you're Dan
okay.
Patrick. I would have to make up the distance between not being Dan Patrick. So I would prepare.
Okay.
And I would give it.
Could you do it in character?
No.
For one segment?
Yes. I could do for one segment. I could do it in character.
Think you could pull
but
that off?
I couldn't do it. We would have to talk college football, and I would have to talk about Cam being a long snapper at the University of Illinois. So it would.
Of course, he's a long snapper.
Yeah, I said I want to be the backup center and long snapper. That's believable.
The show is The Toy Box Friday night at 8 on ABC. He's Eric Stonestreet. We'll be back after this Dan Patrick Show.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.